Hey there, yogis. Thank you for the feedback on the first video. I did get feedback that not all of you have props, to which I say, why? They're so useful, actually, just to strap in a box. Together is about 30 euro or even less. They are really useful to have. But now may not be the time. So today I'm using a blanket. I surely hope you have one of those at home. And you must have some floor somewhere in your apartment that you can slide on a little bit. If you don't, then I guess I'm back to the drawing board for another little challenge. But today, that's what we're using. It's a little series for the hamstrings. We'll start today on the back. So you'll come to the back. You can already have your feet on the blanket, which is here off the mat. I think you know what's coming. And you're going to bring your hips actually pretty close to the edge. So if you're too far away from the edge, you won't be able to pull the blanket very far, and we want to be able to pull the feet in to the hips. So you're bringing your butt all the way to the edge, feet on the floor. And then anything you like with the hands, so that they can be one hand on the chest again, one hand on the belly, or something else that feels more comfortable. I'm going to have the hands on the head actually. So in 1 minute, deep belly breathing. Just notice already what the lower back is doing. Maybe you even want to rock the back. Always a nice way, I think, to start the class because you have your head supported and the upper back and the hips supported, and so all the muscles around the lungs can totally relax, and you can just breathe really deeply, really easily when the whole spine is supported like this. So to quickly release attention before your practice, deep breath in and out. In and out. Deep breath in and out. So a few more times. Deep breathing is like warm up from the inside, so don't skip it. Even just 1 minute. Steadying the breath will already give you much more power throughout the class. So now we'll bring the hands beside the hips. To start, the hips can stay on the floor, and we're just going to stretch out the legs and pull them back in. So feet, when I get here, I feel hamstrings have to work hard. So we're inhaling, stretch out, exhaling, back in. So inhale. Maybe we're doing 10. And try to emphasize like pulling, so you feel the back of the legs have to work. Extending the legs, pulling them back in, extend, maybe hold. Squeeze a little bit more at the end. So a few more times. And now, if that's heavy enough, keep doing it. If you want a little extra challenge, you're going to lift the hips. So you're going to lift the hips. Maybe you have to balance a little bit more on the shoulders. And now slide the legs out, probably not all the way. So a little bit bend in the knees, and then back. So normally, you're going to feel the legs do not slide together. You have one leg that kind of kicks out a little bit more than the other. One hip might kind of drop and wobble. Should be a little bit challenging. So we're going again for 10. I don't really know how many this was already, but we'll say we do like 5 more. Okay, so you'll feel that right away. So you extend the legs and just bring the feet back, knees in, can hold front of the knees, behind the knees. This makes it a little bit easier. Rock a few times side to side. Okay, so we'll leave that there and then just come over onto the side body and then table position. So you have the hands under the shoulders, hips over the knees. You can go a few times the cat and the cow, opening up front body, rounding the spine. And then the child's pose, you'll sit on the heels. I usually like to keep the knees a little bit wider than the hips, and then stretch your fingertips forward and keep the palm lifted. So you'll stretch both arms forward, keep the palm lifted. So you're pushing actually a little bit with the fingertips, the head can rest on the floor. And the more you push with the fingertips, the more the hips pull back to the heels. We have a little bit of a stretch for the spine. Come back up to a table. You can bring your right foot toward the ceiling. A few little pulses, foot straight up, so the knees not to the side, straight up, not a big movement. Just paying attention to the lower back. It might arch a little bit, but try not too much arch in the back. And then straighten the leg. Again, not too high, so not up here, but here, and then extend the arm. I didn't really think about that, so extend the opposite arm. I can't, I'll be on the elbows, so I'll extend opposite arm. Bring it up to the side, so everything stays straight. You'll bring it up to the side. Inhale, back forward, exhale, and now come onto your belly. So you'll come onto the belly, fingertips on the floor in front of your elbows. Inhale, roll up, exhale down. Inhale, roll up, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. And exhale. Tuck your toes, push back up, straight to the other side. So left leg up, make sure knee points toward the floor. Mini pulses, so really not a lot. Mini pulses. Foot toward the ceiling. Straighten the leg, opposite arm. Watch the lower back, so bring maybe a little bit back up, so you're really pushing through the heel. And then exhale, out to the side. And then forward. So again, hand to the floor, knee to the floor, all the way onto the belly. Fingertips wide, stopping feet on the floor. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, roll down. Inhale, roll up. Exhale down. Inhale. And exhale. Downward facing dog. You can bring your hands beside the shoulders. Come up through table. Stretch your arms and legs. And then inhale, lift your head, look at your hands. Exhale, bend the knees. Step the feet forward, a few steps so the feet are behind the wrists. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, bring the arms up all the way, hands together above the chest, head, and exhale, hands to the chest. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift your head. And now exhale the left foot back. So big step, you can always adjust the front foot as well. So you're going to wiggle the leg, bring the knee onto the floor, inhale the arms up. Keep the back toes tucked under. Not too low in the front hip, so we're going to push back up. So first a few times just like lift the foot or the toes, maybe the whole foot if you can, front foot. That will play with your balance a bit, so you're lifting, hope you can see the toes. And then shift a little bit more weight into the front foot, lift the back knee. And now do the opposite, lift the heel. So if your step is too big, you can bring it in a little bit. So lift the front heel, lower. Lift and lower. And as you're lifting the heel, try not to slowly come back up. So sometimes as you're lifting and lowering the feet, we start to lift up when we really don't need to, so stay really low as you can in the right hip. Okay, and then warrior two, you can just adjust the back foot. Back toes are in a little bit, you're stretching the leg. Okay. Bend the right knee, shoulders are over the hips. Reverse warrior. Lean back, reach up to the right fingertips. Don't lose a bend in the front leg. And then exhale the hands forward. Hop the back foot in, little pyramid pose. Stretch the arms back. So if you don't have props, instead of pulling yourself to the floor, actually lift up. And just focus. You'll have to use a little bit more core strength, but here you'll keep your spine straight. So a few deep breaths. Step forward, you can bend the front knee, bring your hands to the floor, just step forward. Once with the breath, inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms up, all the way, hands together above the head. Exhale, hands to the chest. Other side, inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift the head. Exhale, the right foot back. So you're coming into the lunge, knee to the floor. Back toe stays tucked under. Inhale, arms up. And now flex the foot so that the toes are off the floor and lower. And try. So in all of the exercises, we want the front thigh bone parallel with the floor, more or less. So the thigh bone stays parallel with the floor. And now we're going to press into both feet. Lift the back knee. So again, thigh bone is still parallel with the floor. I'm actually going to lift the back knee a bit more. And now the front heel. So the front heel, hope you can see, is lifting and lowering. And as your leg gets tired, you might kind of float up a bit and lose the bend in the knee. So keep the knee really bent. Keep going, a few more times, lift. Okay, warrior two, just adjust the back foot again. Keep the deep bend in the knee, look over the left hand. So front leg is getting tired. Get your back leg to do more work. Really press into the back heel. So the arch of the foot is lifting. Both legs pulling the mat in each direction. Lean back, reverse warrior. Keep the bend in the front knee. And then exhale forward, up the back foot in. If you need to, the pyramid pose, so the legs are straight, feet are as wide as your hips. Here I have the back heel lifted, it's a little bit easier. And just bring the arms back. So now the chest is pulling forward ahead of the toe. Exhale, hands to the floor. You can bend the front knee as you step forward, shake out the legs. Inhale, arms up, bring the hands together above the head. Exhale, hands to the chest. Few deep breaths in Tadasana. Chair pose, bend your knees, swing the arms forward, weight is in the heels. So now we're keeping, again, thigh bones parallel at the floor. Shift forward onto the toes, back onto the heels, lift the toes. So forward onto the toes, back onto the heels. Lift, lower, lift, and lower. A few more times. Okay. Bring hands behind the back. Forward fold. Keep your knees bent to begin. Really pull the arms away from the back and then start to straighten the legs. So it's not so important if the legs are straight, but that we're opening the shoulders. If you have a shoulder issue, you're just holding the elbows or even your hips. Actually, if you can't bring the arms behind the back. So about 5 deep breaths. Inhale, lift your head, bring the hands to the floor. Step both feet back into a plank. Lower onto the belly, the Shalabhasana pose. Reach the hands back. So a few times with the breath, we're going to inhale, reach the hands back, point the feet, everything lifts. Exhale, lower. Inhale up, you're balancing on the belly. Exhale, lower. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale 2 more times. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, and the last one we're going to hold. Inhale, reach up. Your feet stay as wide as your hips, and now bend the knees. So it's like bow pose, but you're not going to catch the ankles. You're going to inhale, lift the chest, pull back. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Exhale, just bring your hands beside your hips, turn your head one way, relax the back. A few really deep breaths. And then your choice, yogi's choice, downward dog or child's pose. I'm going to pick child's pose myself. So 5 deep breaths. And then inhale, lift your head, walk your hands back to your knees. stand on the knees. Top of the feet will stay on the floor. I'm going to keep my hands beside the knees. So you inhale, lean back, little back bend, play with your balance, and then come up. So inhale, lean back. Exhale, forward. Inhale. Exhale. And exhale. One more time. Inhale, lean back. Exhale. And then we'll sit on the heels, bring the feet forward. It's a very easy twist. So I have my left leg straight, my right foot crossed over top. I'm going to bring my chest up and then twist away from the camera, but from the front leg. So I'm pulling my chest toward the belly. Looking over the shoulder. And then I'm turning forward. The Janu Shasana, the foot in the knee pose. So here, again, you have a blanket, I'm sure you do. I'm gonna bring it under the right knee. Maybe I'll turn around so it's clear for the camera. So I have my left leg and just a little blanket under the knee. So if you have a lot of space under the knee, that the hips will feel more stable in a forward fold if you have a blanket here. And it's always tempting to bring the foot really close to the hips, but actually foot on the knee is fine. So you're going to inhale, reach up, and then a few little pulses. Reach, reach, reach. Keep in, reach forward toward the foot. And then find a forward fold. So some of you will just rest the hands on the floor. That's actually a little bit easier for the lower back. Some of you can really come forward and hold the foot. Whatever you're doing, you're looking down at your shin bone, about 5 or 10 deep breaths. Inhale, come up, just switch legs. So you'll bring the other leg out. First, the twist. So you're crossing, you see from another angle, crossing the foot over the knee, bringing the hand to the chest, and then wrapping the opposite arm around the knee, looking over the shoulder. Turning forward, foot inside the leg, so the knee is at an angle, any space you're filling with a blanket, and then inhale, reach up, and then little pulses toward the foot. Exhale, fold, hands to the floor, maybe hands all the way to the foot. And then we'll make our way onto the back. Can have the blanket also under your head as a pillow. I'm going to skip that for this exercise personally, but you always could. So bridge pose. We're going to slide so the feet are in front of the hips. kind of like actually when we were pulling. So now we're pulling the foot all the way to the hips, and we're going to lift the hips and the arms together. So as you inhale, you'll reach back with the fingertips, balance on the back of the shoulders. Exhale, lower the hips and the hands. So deep inhale, stretching back, and exhale, lower. A few more times. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One more time. Inhale, stay on the shoulders, lift the heels, the hips just stay lifted, and then shift back, put the hips to the floor, lift the toes. So again, toes to the floor, lift the heels, walk the feet in a bit, and then switch heels to the floor, lift the toes, hips a bit higher, roll onto the balls of the feet, lift the heels, heels to the floor, lift the toes. A few more times, lift the heels, heels to the floor, lift the toes, and exhale all the way down. Stretch the arms out. You can bring your feet to the sides of the mat, just rock the knees side to side. And then we're going to come to the Supta Baddha Konasana. If this hurts your hips or your lower back, just come all the way to Savasana. I have the feet together, the knees apart, closing the eyes. So wherever you are, if this doesn't work for your lower back, you can just stretch the legs out as well in Shavasana. Most of my students know I prefer that you lift the feet in Shavasana as well, or even this pose, but this is a no props class, so we're just working with what is. And then a few really deep breaths to settle the back body. Deep breath through the nose. Exhale, relax the chest and shoulders. Inhale. Exhale, relax waist, middle back. Deep inhale. Exhale, relax front of the hips, lower back. Deep inhale. Exhale, relax both feet, both legs, both arms, both hands. And allow the head to rest, even for a few moments. It's important. The physical body can rest, also the mental body, the emotional body. A few moments of just stillness. The only thing moving through you is your breath. You can stretch the legs out for Shavasana or stay in the Supta Baddha Konasana if you're finding it really juicy today. A few moments just to feel supported by the surface beneath you. A little bit more space through the whole body. So if you're enjoying that, just stop the video and stay there in Shavasana. If you're ready to move on, some of you are still working from home, bring the arms up, feet together. Pull the knees up. And be sure that you roll over to the sides. It's gentler on your body and also your state of mind. Transition from your practice back up for whatever comes next. So thank you for your practice. I welcome any feedback. Namaste.